I had to sit down. I stood up, and then, oh, I hope she wouldn't read that entire thing. You know, first of all, following acts like that is tough, and I think I'm going to change up the presentation a little bit to give you a little bit more of what it means to build a purpose-driven organization. And I titled my talk, Crowd Powering Innovation for Good, because I'm a lucky guy. I get to work with people I enjoy on projects that are global in scale and that are absolutely new and ready to be tested. It's nerve-wracking for sure. But today I'm going to actually switch it around, and I'm going to talk to you about how I got here, because more importantly, we're going to talk about great ideas. You're going to hear about great concepts. Probably everybody in this room is doing something fantastic, and that's great. I want to focus in on some of those more awkward times, like your junior high yearbook, right? Or that time when you tried to start a small company with some friends, and then pretty soon one friend didn't show up, and then another friend didn't show up, and pretty soon you're creating a company by yourself, alone, in a room. And it actually started when I was a kid. I became fascinated, as the gentleman before me became fascinated with brains, I became fascinated with building organizations. I was 4. And my dad told me at one point, I think it was bugging him up in Seattle. He was a park ranger. My mom was a flute-playing hippie. Mom, love you. But he told me, kind of get out of the way, go dig a hole. And I decided that I would dig a hole. That became my mission statement and my business plan, all wrapped in one. I went out and I recruited 2 or 3 of my friends. Poor David Knudsen, the Scandinavian down the street, Michael from the Jewish family down in the corner, and a few others. We got around and we got our small tools assembled with Legos and G.I. Joe trucks and stuff like that. We went out and we started digging a hole in my backyard. It became 1 foot, and I had Michael down the way, and I would kind of dig and put a rock in it and shove it down to Michael. And then Michael would give it to David, the Norwegian, and he would try to break the rocks, and we were looking for quartz inside. I didn't know what I was going to do with these, but my mission and my business plan was to dig a hole. Fast forward, high school. It doesn't get much more complex than this. I joined the girls' club. With my friend, Hank, who in fact is an F-16 pilot right here at Nellis. He actually is a teacher in the Top Gun program. But Hank and I decided we'd join Girls Club to get our community service hours. Unfortunately, we were elected president, the co-presidency. F-16 Hank and Dig a Hole Gray. And we were in charge of the daisy chain at graduation, putting a series of flowers together so the graduates could come through and really enjoy their last minutes as a high schooler. Third, Riverside Community College. We didn't have a lot of money when I was getting ready to go to 4 years, and frankly, I didn't have the mental capacity or the brain power we just saw. That last picture of the guy with the fuzzy hair and all the little arrows going out, that was kind of like me, and my haircut, by the way. I created something called the Riverside Community College Recycling Program, thinking that this campus needed a recycling program. The big community college, good 50, 60,000 students. There was no club that focused on recycling. I got everybody organized around the fact that this was going to be a purpose-driven organization. It was even innovative, like my title slide. I got things around, I got everybody together, and I said, I will, coming this Tuesday afternoon, 4 p.m., I'm going to bring snacks, and I want you to come together. Let's create the leadership committee for a purpose-driven organization. We're going to recycle on campus and maybe even bring some money back to the campus. I went out, and my idea of a snack and bringing stuff is literally like a bag of oranges. So I brought some oranges, and I sat there at the table I said I would meet everybody in. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Nobody was showing up to my Riverside Community College Recycling Club. Purpose-driven. I cared, and I had a purpose. It was driven by me, right? But nobody showed up. In fact, turns out there was a recycling program. And in fact, it was in the green bins. Which leads me to the current day, to give you a flavor of kind of my fascination with bringing people together. I am now part of an organization called Innovation Economy Corporation. And after serving 2 Secretaries of State after 9/11, traveling all around the world, and experiencing lots of both good and bad things, I'll tell you that becoming purpose-driven in building organizations is something really special. And in fact, when we talk about the idea of generating ideas and innovations and getting innovations up and out to market in successful companies, the fact is we do a lot. And I'm not going to point any, there are no people here necessarily, because everybody here is effective and purpose-driven and mindful. But in fact, without having a purpose and without having a problem to solve, really, we're building the recycling club, right? I figured that out pretty early. So at Innovation Economy Corporation, right now, me and my partners are working on developing a platform that acquires innovative assets from universities, that commercializes them, and takes them out, transforming them into products and services that have a global impact socially and economically. Started 3.5 years ago. The platform is real, it's working, and I'll talk about one of the technologies in a minute. But as I've built the companies, my own companies, as I've worked with others, as I worked at the State Department under 2 incredible Secretaries of State, I've learned a lot about what it means to build teams. A lot about what it means to bring David Knutson, the Scandinavian, and Mike, the Jewish person from down in the corner, to do something effective. And I've actually categorized it into kind of 4 groups. And I'm going to start with that if I can get this thing to work. Guys, you going to do the next slide for me?
Oh, is it not working?
No. Next, and next. I'm not even going to bang up on crowdsourcing, crowdfunding right now. Don't worry. Keep going, and 4. One back. In building companies and actually taking ideas to market, making them effective, really I've identified 4 types of people who classify themselves as leaders, as instigators, and people who do things, right? And when we build social purpose and purpose-driven organizations, we need to make sure that we understand who these people are, so that when we're digging holes, when we're building the recycling club, and as you're building your company or your new hub here in Las Vegas, we understand how to use these people when we're taking the power of the crowd and actually doing something effective. Number 1 is responders. And if you don't mind, one slide. You know, everybody knows these type of people, right? Responders are really good at responding. They're really good at jumping on the bandwagon and saying, we need to do something collectively. I post up a picture here after Hurricane Katrina, when the entire communities, in fact the entire nation, rallied behind the people in New Orleans and the Gulf Coast states and actually responded. The crowd, if you will, was responsive, and they did great work. These people are passionate, these people are thoughtful, and these people are willing to be led. Next. Second, we have crusaders. This guy is named Fred Cuny. He became one of my heroes in the mid-1990s when I was kind of becoming a man, and really embodied to me the idea of the person you know who has an idea, who believes his idea or her idea is the right idea, and in fact is going to generate a lot of energy around it and push it forward. This guy, in fact, in my organizational building and in yours, is oftentimes one of the most powerful proponents of your cause and your brand. This person is also potentially harmful to an early organization, right? When you have some very hard-headed, strong-willed individuals, in fact, like Fred Cuny, sometimes we can find ourselves diverted into places where a purposeful and socially driven organization doesn't want to be. In fact, Fred was a relief worker. He was a Texan, big, larger than life. There was a Frontline special done about him. He became, after engineering in his early days, fascinated with humanitarian assistance worldwide. Fred died in Chechnya after he disappeared in 1995, and to this date we have yet to find his remains. And Fred Cuny was so fixated on fixing the international relief system that he forgot to work with people and ultimately died lonely. Next slide. Next slide, please. You got it? Okay. Aung San Suu Kyi, we all know her as a champion for democracy worldwide. We call her a champion, really. Somebody who we know, and you know, is focused on advancing the causes for others. These people are extremely compassionate, and we, or us, love these people for what they stand for. And in fact, what they stand for is, in fact, relating to social purpose and social good around us. She was imprisoned 15 out of 21 years in Burma or Myanmar. She was not capable of witnessing the death of her husband to prostate cancer and had 2 kids who grew up in the UK and the United States because she was devoted to the people of her country and of her country of birth. She's a champion. She's wonderful. She's an innovator because she could bring people together, but most importantly, she was true to the cause, and she was somebody you want on your team because champions make everybody feel great, right? Next slide. Anybody know what this is? A famed diplomat in the United States, Richard Holbrooke. We call him, and people like this, people like us in the room, rebels, who oftentimes are absolutely good in conscience and excellent in execution, but sometimes wanting to pick a fight when no fight is necessary. Now, Richard Holbrooke is one of my heroes, too. I can say that. He passed away in 2010. But was a key to the Dayton Peace Accords and providing peace in the Balkans. Obviously, there are books around him, and you've probably heard about him or read about him. He was an enigmatic individual and was capable of galvanizing people around a specific cause, a purpose-driven cause, but oftentimes did so because he wanted to make a point. He wanted to leverage the involvement of others and sometimes sacrifice the actual outcome or the effectiveness of his operations. So we have our responders, right? We have our champions, we have our crusaders, and we have our rebels that make up the people we are, the people I've experienced in both successful and unsuccessful organizations. And when we're building out the power of crowds and the power of crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, and we're trying to get other people excited, it's important to realize that we oftentimes have to build organizations with, around, or in spite of individuals who have very powerful personalities, right? And this brings us all back to our focus and our effort in building sustainable, purposeful organizations, and it's going to take all 4 of these types. If you go one next slide, please. Which leads us to the reason we're here, and the reason I'm here. I was really excited because you guys are putting on a fantastic program, but your goal really is to redevelop an entire area and create a platform for innovation and for commercialization of ideas. And I'm excited because we're doing something similar in my town, which is Riverside, California. The company I talked about, real briefly, is developing technologies that will have an impact around the world in significant ways. And as we prepare to motivate the international markets, but more importantly, the kind of social cause communities, we're going to be looking for partners. And I'd invite you to join iecrowd.com, get in there and punch in your email address, and actually become part of our innovation commercialization place, because we all know that ideas without substance and without products and services really are just great ideas. So figure out which person you are. I know I am constantly evaluating who I am as a leader, as a contributor, as a student, and the sooner we can do that and organize ourselves in ways where we know what makes people effective and we know what makes organizations effective, the more purposeful and the more capable we'll be in our daily efforts. All right, questions? Yes, sir.
If you sign up at IE Crowd, how do you anticipate people who sign up there helping out? Like, if say they've identified what they are and are ready to do something with a project, for a project, check out a project, what's the next step for them?
Sure, you bet. So what is IE Crowd, basically? And by the way, you do not have to answer a questionnaire about which of these amazing individuals you are. I just wanted to come and talk about, kind of some special people in my life, and more importantly, the fact that, it's people that make stuff happen, and it's people that actually get together, and whether we call it crowd or, getting folks organized around a meetup, etc., we're actually good people getting together to do good things, right? Well, Innovation Economy Crowd is actually going to become the world's first commercialization platform for technologies that have social and economic impact around the world. People are going to be able to participate in a number of ways, and I'm going to ask you to keep everything suspenseful, to sign up at iecrowd.com. And no, seriously, it's a splash page right now. We're getting ready to roll it out in the next month. And it's going to have a big impact on how we engage both the innovation community in the United States and how we take products to market. My belief, just a side note, because I chose to tell you about RCC and digging the hole and using my time to basically tell you how important it is to be human in leadership, is that we are building and growing very fast, and that our organization is right now going to be tackling some very big and some very important causes in the world right now. And after about 30 days, you'll be able to join in to the conversation. You'll be able to join into the advancement and the championing of those things, the crusading of those things, and even be rebellious when it comes to finding solutions that might not be so commonplace. All right. iecrowd.com would be great. Congratulations on building a pretty incredible innovation platform here in Las Vegas. I hope you guys will have us back as we learn from you what we're going to be doing in Southern California.